Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. So happy to see you here today. And greetings from Salida, Colorado. I'm not in my usual spot, enjoying the wonderful fall experience, these bright blue skies and beautiful leaves out in Colorado. So I am going to press the go live button for Instagram. Here we go. I think we are live on Instagram, Michelle. All righty. Good deal. All right, guys. So again, hello everybody, and welcome to Live with Lesli. And in case I haven't met you, I'm Lesli Bytel, and I'm a business strategist and mentor specifically for integrative functional medicine and nutrition practitioners. And I'm so happy that you're here with us today. Delighted to have you. So for those of you who are multi-passionate, and I know that probably speaks to many of us, those of you that have, a variety of interests that you're wanting to pursue in your private practice, sometimes leading to, shall we say, some challenges around focus, you are definitely in the right place today. Very common, I might add, to be struggling with focus and also just wanting to do a lot of different things in your practice. So today I'm really excited to chat with Michele McAlister from Byte Nutrition Consulting. And we're going to be talking about some strategies that she has implemented to help focus on specific, just specific strategies that'll help propel your business forward despite having all kinds of ideas floating around in your head and sometimes leading to distraction. So I think this is a really good topic because I know for sure many of us do struggle with this, shiny object syndrome. So anyway, welcome and so happy to see you, Michele. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. So good to catch up with you. So, Michele, why don't you do us a favor and just tell us where you're located and a little bit about, your practice, what you're up to, and how this topic is so relevant for you personally.
Awesome. Yes, I'd love to. So I'm in Georgetown, Texas. I actually started my business in Abilene, Texas. And when COVID hit, I became a virtual practice at that point. And yes, and decided I really love it and didn't want to go back to seeing people in a brick and mortar fashion anymore. So I serve clients, primarily women, but I do see some men, and it's specializing in diabetes, gut health, and autoimmune disease with some emotional eating and weight management thrown in. Can you see that I'm the multi-passionate person? That just goes to show right there.
Yep. No, I really do. I was that person when I started my private practice. I just kind of dug my heels in, even though I knew I needed to niche down. Mm-hmm. I just wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pick. It was really a struggle. So anyway, so it is not uncommon to be in that situation. In fact, I'd love to hear from our audience. Let me know if you yourself continue to struggle with even just narrowing down your target audience and niche. I mean, that typically is when we're in business for ourselves, that's usually where the challenge starts, right? Wouldn't you agree, Michele?
Oh, definitely. I switched several times. But this seems to be where my strengths are and where my passion lies too.
Okay. Yeah. You're mixing metabolic health in terms of diabetes, pre-diabetes, diabetes,
right? Lipid management. Yep.
Lipid management. And you're mixing those metabolic types of cases, shall we say, with mindful eating strategies.
Yes.
Get that right?
Gut health. Definitely the whole thing. I have a program I've called the Optimal Health Blueprint. So it really kind of encompasses all of these things. And that way I'm able to help people in the many ways that I like to help them. It's kind of looking at each person as an individual and helping them, more broadly too. While we may focus specifically on certain areas, there is a big purpose at play there. I would really like to help people have those good foundations just for health and looking at their root cause, what's, going on with that person.
Okay, I love that. Okay, so you have a program. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that's structured?
So actually, I'm revamping it as we speak.
Okay.
It's going to be a membership. I'm launching a membership, and I have a core foundations program as part of this optimal health blueprint. And so, I decided to take all the courses that I had made and put them into one library, and that is my membership.
All right. I am so excited for you.
I'm excited too.
All right. I love it. Well, we could certainly go off on a tangent talking about how to launch a membership, but maybe we might throw in a few little tidbits here and there as we go through our conversation today. But that being said, I want to hone in on, some of the strategies that you've implemented that have been really helpful to help you to focus, because that is the big topic for today. So guys, let me know in the comments, give me a little insight in terms of, where you are in terms of focus. And probably the first thing to consider is, do you have, a predetermined target audience for your practice? So that often is where that initial challenge tends to lie. So, all right, so let's dig in. So what does being a multi-passionate business owner look like?
Well, for me, it's basically having a lot of different interests. I mentioned some of those areas and people that I work with. Before COVID happened, I also taught tap fit classes, which is a really fun dance fitness class where you use slip-on tap shoes. I had to put that on hold during COVID, obviously, when everything shut down, and it kind of got shoved in the background. But you can see it's having a lot of different interests. And I actually found this term from Marie Forleo. If you've ever heard of her, she's wonderful. I wrote the book, Everything is Figure Outable. And she termed or coined this term. And I just was like, that's me. That is so me, So for me, one of the things that I did is I actually sat down one morning with a cup of coffee when I was feeling kind of clear-headed and in a good mood. And I just thought, what would an ideal day in my life look like? If I had the business of my dreams, what would it look like? Mm-hmm. And I just started brainstorming. And I was like, the kind of people I'd want to work with, when would I see them and what days would I see them? What would I be doing in my business so that I didn't get bored? Because of course, being a multi-passionate person, it's easy to get bored and to, not want to keep focused for that reason. So I thought, okay, if I had my ideal business, what would it look like? Once I did that, I used something called mind mapping. And I don't know if you're familiar with mind mapping, but I love it. For me, I'm a visual person. I have to see things in front of me and look at it frequently just to kind of remind me. And so basically with mind mapping, you put what your goal is in, I always put it in a circle in the middle of the page. And so for me, what I did is I wrote down what my financial goal was for the year, put exactly how much I wanted to make, and I put the year with it. So it would be kind of like, okay, this is this year. And when you do mind mapping, you ask yourself, okay, so what are the things that would help me to make this dollar amount that I was shooting for? Mm-hmm. And I started thinking about the different avenues of income. So I looked at, okay, I've got my one-on-one consults. I've got my courses. I have several different courses. So I listed those in circles, kind of thinking about this like tree branches. It's like this one branched out and I said, okay, courses. And then I had, eventually membership, and I've got some digital products and some other things that I want to make. And again, I could go on for 10 years with all the ideas I have. So, but I thought if I could at least get it on one picture so that I could see it.
Oh, so good.
And then I took each one of those branches and I'd say, okay, in order for this to happen, what do I need to do to get that going? And so I had little twigs that would go off of that, where it was like, okay, well, if you are going to, launch a course, you're going to have to do marketing. You're going to have to do that. So I'd list those things out until it got small enough that it's like, okay, this is a set of goals now. This is something that is actionable for me to work on.
Okay.
And that really has helped me so much. And I go back and I look at it frequently. I may edit it as, time goes on, decide I don't want to do something or I do want to do something else, but it still gives me that central focus. And that has really helped me a lot. That's one big thing that I've used.
So mind mapping.
Mind mapping.
Okay. Yeah. Who here has used mind maps before? I'd love to hear from you. So Michele, where does one find a mind map? Is it?
There actually is a website that you can go to called mindmapping.com.
Okay.
And you can pull up and it talks about how to do them and gives you examples of different ones. I use these with my clients too. So like when they're setting goals, if they're wanting to lose weight or whatever, I help them kind of visualize, and write it out what they're going to do to achieve their goals. And so it's such a neat tool. I just, like I said, being a visual person, I love it.
Okay. I love that. And so basically you could see all your options, all these ideas floating around in your head.
Right.
You put it on this mind map and it really starts to come to life. I'm guessing you had to kind of pick and choose, right?
Yes.
Which brain do you want to pursue? Because
exactly.
Otherwise, I'm sure there were a lot given.
Oh, yes. I'm an idea person. So, yes. So what I did is I said, okay, for me, what is my bread and butter? Right now, it is my one-on-ones. Mm-hmm. I have to make sure I maintain that, keep it going while I pursue one of these at a time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I initially tried to do multiples at one time. That does not work. I can tell you it does not work. It's kind of like throwing things against the wall and seeing if it's going to stick. Just not a great approach. So what I did is I decided, okay, in this quarter, I'm working on this particular branch. And I use things like time blocking to help me focus on tasks that have to be done in order for me to accomplish that particular section. So that's what I've been using.
Okay.
I love time blocking. I use my Google Calendar for this.
Oh my gosh, time blocking. Who here is on time blocking? I just have to put a plug in really quick on this concept. So I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about my Six-Figure Biz Academy. Suffice it to say right now, though, that was the opening exercise in our kickoff call.
Love it.
Is time blocking, seriously. And it is so, I got a little bit of feedback yesterday from one of the physicians in my group who was struggling with email, right? Like, and who doesn't struggle with that, but just how to manage email and just like, it just dominated her day. And she said she actually walked into her office on Monday with the strategies that we had decided to implement for her on just simply around email. And she said it was like walking into someone else's life. It just was almost like surreal. Just what a big shift and just how amazing it was that she, just that one little tweak managing email, she sat down, she was able to get just all kinds of, things done that normally are just kind of pushed off on the back burner. So guys, time blocking, huge. So tell us a little bit about what that looks like for you.
Well, I use Google Calendar and I color code different time blocks with specific colors. Like my coursework is dark purple and admin tasks are yellow, and anything that makes me money is green. And so I look at it based on that. And in that time block, I make notes too. Like, this is what I'm going to work on in this time block for this week. And I kind of plan that out on Sundays. And I will only do what's in that time block. I can be very easily distracted. I turn my cell phone face down so I can't look at it. I've silenced the notifications. Okay. The email thing used to be my problem too. I'd be like, oh my goodness, let me check that one email. And before you know it, rabbit hole, 30 minutes later, I've already wasted all this time that it was supposed to be working on course, whatever. So that is how I do mine.
I love that you do it right on Google
I
Calendar.
do. I
That's
do.
great. So you do it like every Sunday. You look at your calendar and plan your week, which is great. Okay. So good. And one other thing I just want to mention that's so good is that you are blocking out revenue producing activities in your calendar, right? Which, guys, so very important. So often we get, let's just say, a little sidetracked with tasks that make us busy, but let's be honest, not super productive in terms of revenue generating tasks. So I love how you're marking those off in green and prioritizing those tasks every single day. Can you give us some examples?
Of the income producing. So when I'm spending time on marketing, when I'm spending time on course launches, anything that doing marketing in person, because I do some, trying to create some relationships in this new area that I'm in. That's time that I would actually block off in my calendar. Of course, if I'm driving somewhere, I have to put a little bit bigger block just because I have to drive.
Some of those that you're doing in person, just because, the reason I love this so much is in part because quite often, and I've done this myself, where you kind of put a lot of your eggs in the online marketing basket. And at the cost of not leaving yourself enough time to build momentum in your own backyard, right?
Exactly.
And really my philosophy is to approach marketing from that two-pronged lens, so to speak. Right. So I kind of view like the online strategies are super important. Got to do them. But they are, I think, more of a long-term investment quite often. And your backyard, community-based types of marketing strategies really can be very, very lucrative quickly. So can you tell us a little bit about those tasks?
So I have made packets that I take around to doctors' offices, and I'll try to talk with the provider if possible, but for sure, talking with their nurse or their assistant and just mentioning the kind of people I help and asking them, if they have, any certain types of clients that they find challenging to work with, and trying to see if that's an area where I could say, oh, I help people that have that issue, and, explain to them how I work with people, and, just making that connection and giving them a referral sheet. So if they did want to send me a referral, like a fax, I have an e-fax. And so they could, send those things that I need to be able to schedule somebody or talk with them.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Really want to encourage everybody to, look for opportunities in your community for marketing. And also just wanted to put this up. This is from Laura. And Laura says, I need to start time blocking to improve the use of my admin time. Absolutely. And she also says she likes the color coding idea. So thanks for sharing that. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, it's, I had another person in this group say, because I asked, okay, what were your aha moments from doing this time blocking exercise? And actually a couple people said, well, the big revelation is I need at least one more day in the week. Like there just isn't enough time. So what that means is we really have to be careful about prioritization and possibly delegation, right? I would add that to the list. So if you're finding that you just don't have enough time, even when you get rid of all the distractions and, you really try to hunker down. So do be aware of that. But if you still are like, man, I just don't have enough time in the week, it really could be an opportunity for you to look at what are those tasks that you can delegate, right? What are those tasks that are keeping you from putting on your CEO hat and growing the business? right? So I can speak for myself. Once I hired a VA, and this was pretty early in my practice, I had a VA, and it was not a huge commitment. Honestly, it was not like anything hugely monumental in terms of cost. But once I did that, it really opened up my brain to take on more, just a more active role in growing the business. So really would encourage everyone to give that some thought as well. Because think about it this way, just hypothetically, let's just say your hourly rate. I'm just going to $100 an hour just because it's easy math, right? So $100 an hour, let's just say that's your rate, or a couple $100 an hour, whatever it is. Should you be doing certain tasks that you could easily delegate out for $20 an hour? Probably not, right? So look at it that way. Would you pay someone $100 an hour to do said task? So that's just kind of a different way to look at it.
That's me with tech work.
Oh gosh.
I get so frustrated and want to kick my computer whenever I'm trying to do tech stuff. I'm old school, and so it takes me probably 3 times as long to do something. That's something I do hire out, definitely.
Oh gosh, I don't think you'd want me. Oh, I can tell you what you need to do and what it should look like, but you don't want me actually opening the hood and doing it. that would not be pretty. So, okay. So, all right. So in addition to the mind mapping, are there any other tools that you found that can help you to prioritize, help you to narrow down what to work on first?
Well, I like I said, I'm using the time blocking is my main thing, but I also have to use other tools to help me, like with charting and things like that, because let's face it, documentation, it's not fun. I hate it with a passion.
Oh gosh.
I hate it so much.
Practice especially, right?
Yes, the documentation is a nightmare.
Okay.
And what I use, a couple of things that I found that really helped me. One, I've been using a remarkable writing tablet. This was a game changer for me.
Okay, tell us about that.
So basically, it's a digital writing pad, and you go, because I like to write instead of trying to type when I'm talking. That way I can just make a quick note. But I didn't want to have stacks of paper that were just like, oh my goodness, I still have to go back and chart all these. So what I can do with this remarkable tablet is I can write it, but then convert it to text with just a click of a little button. And then it pops up on my computer screen. I can copy paste it, put it into the chart note. I do have to do a little editing because Remarkable sometimes gets things a little jumbled up, but it's still so much quicker than it would have been had I, gone and tried to type it all, after a visit. I'm not one of those people that likes to type while I'm talking. I just find it to be very distracting, and I want to be able to really focus on what that person is saying and not, how like you're in front of a doctor and they're doing that and they're like, are you even listening to me? It makes me crazy.
It's kind of boring. Yeah. Completely.
But that, and I use timers. I'm a person that, because of course, with the way my schedule is, I have to use timers to remind me, hey, you've got a client in 15 minutes or whatever. And so I will use a timer and use music. I listen to, especially when I'm doing charting, which I hate, I will use like fast-paced music. I've kind of gotten into this smooth jazz lately. It's been my thing because it helps me chill while I'm doing it. That or lo-fi, like a lo-fi kind of music, because it's got a beat to it and it makes me work faster. I swear I get things done faster just because of that.
That's awesome. So I have I have an app that I use. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. I use an app called Focus at Will. Focus at Will. And it's kind of the same idea. You could set a little timer, which I love, because if I'm, wanting to focus on something, I'll just say, okay, I'm going to sit down and just do it for 45 minutes. So you set a little timer and it does play music. You can kind of pick, is it, fast paced or kind of slow or medium? Anyway, it's really good. It's helped me a lot. So, another, potential tool that could be helpful for folks that need it.
And I like to take breaks after that. So I reward myself with a dance break because I love to dance. I love to dance. And so when I have done that hour of charting, I will go, okay, dance break. And I will go turn on some funk or hip hop or something and dance for a good 5 minutes. Or I might go outside and spend some time in nature. I'm very blessed to live in a place where the guy who lives next door to me has this beautiful backyard where he's got butterfly bushes and bird houses, and we have kind of elevated back porches. So I go sit on my back porch and I look at all the butterflies coming around. And it's like, awesome. Little mindful living there. And it definitely helps me breaking it up because gosh, it can get so tiring if you don't take breaks, and my eyes need the break anyway.
Oh, so good. I love that. Dance breaks. That's great. Well, and the key is just to find something that motivates you, right?
Definitely.
Some kind of little reward that feels good and is fun and you look forward to. So good. I love that. That is so awesome. So, I'd be curious to hear from our audience if there's any other tools that you have found that, that you found to be helpful. Share that in the chat so that we can kind of cross-pollinate there. All right. So we should probably put that tool in the chat, the one that you're using to help you to chart. Tell me again what that is called. I can add that to
the Remarkable. It's and then Markable is the name of it. I bought mine on Amazon.
Markable.
I think it's like a capital M. Yeah.
Okay. Is it re-markable.com?
I don't think there's a dash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not a dash.
Markable.
It's the capital M for Markable.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just put that in there. Just as the name.
Yeah.
Is this right?
Yeah, that looks right. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, that could be super helpful for folks.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try AI. I know some people use AI to do their charting too, or to help them with that. I just haven't done it yet, but
okay.
I think that's pretty cool.
How that would work. Has anyone here used AI to help them chart? I'd be really curious about that. I personally have been using ChatGPT quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
But I have never used it to start from scratch, in all honesty. Not quite there yet. But I use it. In fact, I've been using it so much, they said it's time to upgrade. Like I ran out of the free. Yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't know I was using it that much. But so I did upgrade, and but the way I've used it is like, okay, here's what I've got. Here's a draft, or here's like 2 different sets of notes I have for this one thing. Can you combine, condense, and just make it better? So, and honestly, it saved me just oodles and oodles of time.
It is amazing how fast it can come up with stuff. I'm just always blown away.
I know.
I use it for naming.
You used it for what?
For naming. So like when I'm trying to think of a catchy name for something, it's like I have something written and I'm like, gosh, what do I want to call this? Because a name can really make a difference whether somebody gets it or not. And so use it for that.
It's huge. Yeah, I had one of my clients actually tell me that one of the people in the Six Figure Biz Academy said that they're using ChatGPT to help them actually narrow down their niche. I thought that was interesting.
That's cool.
Right? Like the input was, here's the things I enjoy. Here's, a little bit about my background, my, what kind of patients I enjoy working with. Can you help me figure out what would be a good target audience to hone in on? And I guess it gave like 4 good options.
Oh, that's so
know?
cool.
So yeah, so if you're struggling, who knows, maybe Chat GPT can help you kind of narrow things down. Okay, so we talked about mind mapping, we've talked about remarkable, and um, and we also talked about the magic of time blocking. And one thing I want to add to that part of the conversation is the big takeaway with time blocking is you're batching like tasks together, right? So the whole idea is, ultimately what you want to aim for is where you wake up in the morning and you already know, you don't even really have to look at your calendar. You already know pretty much what's in store for you, right? In terms of like tasks that, because we're trying to create habits and systems so that when you've got 30 minutes or an hour to actually work on something, you are spending it getting it done, getting the task done instead of pondering, what should I do? I have an hour. What should I do? So it's really helpful in that regard. Yeah, were you going to say something about that, Michelle?
Yeah, I definitely would say it kind of goes hand in hand with my 2 words for this year: simplify and automate. Simplify, doing things in blocks like that, it definitely makes life so much better. Because for me, I have such a long to-do list. If I were to just go, oh gosh, I've got to pick something off this list, I would get froze just in analysis paralysis. Where do I even start?
Yep.
And so for me, even like saying, what are my top 3 tasks that I'm going to work in this time block? And that way it narrows it down even more. These are the most important tasks.
Okay.
And I would have to say, even using my energy, like I don't want to do charting at the time of day when I am most creative, because that would be wasted energy.
Okay.
For me, I'm like, no. Morning time. I am the most creative in the morning. That's when I need to be creating. So I don't usually see clients at that time. I'm usually using that time for my creative time. Okay, this is what I want to be working on. And when I get those ideas, I can jot them down and really focus. And I find that using the times that I'm not at peak, like my afternoon times, that's when I chart. That's when I do those tasks.
Smart, because it doesn't require like this. It doesn't require creativity to chart.
No,
right?
It sure doesn't.
Okay. So guys, that is such a great tip. Really be aware of when you are most creative, right? Some people it's first thing, some people it's later in the day. So the key is to just recognize when you're most productive and creative and capitalize on that time. Such a good point. I'm really glad you mentioned that. Because otherwise you're kind of wasting. I don't want to say waste because it's a task that you have to do, but you're not optimizing that creative time in your life.
Yeah, I think it's part of the setting healthy boundaries as well too,
Ooh.
with my brain and with my time too. It helps me do that as well.
Okay, so how do you mitigate that shiny object syndrome?
Yes, shiny object syndrome for me is courses. I'm admittedly a course junkie, and I love all things about learning. And
so you taking courses?
Taking courses, yes.
Oh,
I like to make them too, but yes, taking courses,
okay.
listening to talks, that is my shiny object. I've had to really step back and go, okay, does this align with what I'm trying to achieve in my business?
Okay.
Does it play a role there? And do I have the time right now to really commit to it? Because if I don't have the time in my schedule and I'm trying to squeeze in one more thing, that's not good. It's going to keep me from getting my main thing done. Right. So, yeah.
Well, I'm a sucker for courses too.
Oh, dude.
Yes. I am. It is. Yeah. I can relate to that one. It's not. Yeah. I mean, and the intention is always really good, right? Like, oh, this is going to be so great. I personally struggle with evergreen courses. I'm just putting it out there. I can't tell you the number of evergreen pre-recorded courses that I have purchased And, I probably have listened to one session, maybe none in some of them.
You're
Yeah.
not alone, Leslie. You're not
It
alone.
is a little bit of an
Definitely.
addiction, I have to admit.
Yeah,
So,
for me to commit to one, it's one that really means something to me at this
okay.
point. Yeah. And I've done Leslie's courses, so I can attest to that. If I sign up for one of hers, it's because I know it's going to provide me value.
Yay, I'm glad. Yes. And it's you've really grown a ton, and gosh, look where you are now. So any other little tidbits, secret sauce, so to speak, that you use to expedite your own productivity that you want to share?
Making sure I have time to take care of me. That's part of it too, because if I'm burned out, which I have been burned out, I got burned out at the beginning of the year. I realized, okay, we've got to go back to the drawing board. This is not working.
Okay.
So I intentionally, in my time blocking, have places for me to exercise, to do meditation, to take a power nap. Yes, I'm a power napper. I love my power naps. So
they're good for you.
Yeah, I think it's key, because if we're trying to do all the things all the time well into the night, we're going to get burned out real fast, especially when you are wearing all the hats.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So I really want to second that, because that is what I'm helping my clients create their, this time blocking type of calendar. That is honestly, that's where we start. I always say, okay, what are your non-negotiables? Like, what are those responsibilities? That it could be picking your child up from school at 3:00, or meeting them at the bus stop, or, whatever it is. Like, let's get those in. And then I also consider like self-care non-negotiable, right? Like,
yeah,
it just is. But that's me. I don't, like, a lot of people don't. So if you're in that camp of, oh, I don't have time for me, yeah, that can really, really lead to burnout. So even if you just, pick one thing that you're going to do for yourself, I just think it makes a huge difference. So, like, I'll just say for me, sleep, right? I'm that 9 hours a night kind of gal for sleep. So, I don't always sleep the full 9 hours, but, I try to allocate 9 hours, and exercise. Yeah, I always have exercise blocked out in my calendar. And it's funny because my team knows, don't mess with that. Right. I'm in Colorado now, so I've been doing a lot of biking. And I know Abby, Abby, who's a wonderful virtual assistant on my team. She was like, oh, I didn't want to ask you, but can I move your bike ride, a little bit later? I'm like, yes, of course. Right. But like, I know how important that is. So yeah. So you got to really guard it, because if you don't guard it,
yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you can end up giving away all of your time trying to be accommodating to people. And I had to learn that the hard way for myself.
Yep.
Especially with clients that kept wanting later and later appointments. And I finally was like, no, this is not working for me. I can't do this.
I'm glad you brought that up too, Michelle, because I used to do that myself in private practice, right? Where, like, I didn't really have these set hours. So look at your non-negotiables, your self-care, get that in. Like, when are you going to eat? When are you going to, even, meal prep, work it all in, your sleep, meditation, exercise, and client hours. Right?
Even messaging, I know some people that will ding me at, 10 at night. I go to bed at 9. I'm like, no, we're not responding to any messages that late. Goodness.
That's all part of those healthy boundaries, right? And just like that example of the physician that's in one of my programs who really had the aha moment with managing email, her concern initially was, well, patients kind of expect me to, answer their questions really quickly on email. And I said, well, therein lies the problem. Well, let's set these expectations differently so that your patients, I think that's a little bit unreasonable, right? To expect, immediate turnaround with responses. So that can easily be managed by just, letting people know, like 24 to 48 hours turnaround time for responses, something like that, right? So we're kind of managing expectations.
I think it's so key, definitely.
You do that as well with email? Tell me how you manage your email.
Do. I have set times. I look at it in the morning before I get started, and then I do it at lunch for a few minutes, and then at the end of the day for a few minutes.
Okay.
And that way, if somebody's canceled or whatever, sometimes they will email me that they canceled. But that seems to be better for me than looking. I'm very OCD with my email. I don't like to have a lot of emails that I haven't looked at or dealt with. So it's better for me not to look until I have time to look, because it could be bad.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it's funny. I don't have OCD about email. You would not want to look at one of my email accounts. It'd be downright frightening. Right. But I have different, here's how I handle. Well, and I probably could manage my email a little bit better, probably. But what I tend to do is I have filters, and I have different email addresses for different things. Right. So like anytime I order something from a catalog or buy something online, I use a specific email, right? I have a specific email for like newsletters, like the educational things that we kind of are addicted to signing up for. So I have a separate email actually that kind of goes with online purchases. So all that is under one email. And then I have a private client email, right? Only my private clients know about that email. And so obviously that is my high priority every day when that is always managed and, whittled down to zero. But anyway, and I have a personal email. So that seems to help me manage. I don't know if that sounds like a lot for other people, but it really has helped me to prioritize. Okay. So it's not just me. Hey, Mindy. Mindy does that too. I know when I was explaining it, I was thinking that might sound a little overwhelming. But the thing about it is it just helps me prioritize, right? So I always go in every day, and I know that private client email needs to be managed first. So I do find that super helpful. And I did hear from one of my students in the Six Figure Biz Academy how she was struggling with email. And I think in part it's because she has one email for everything. She's like, I get all these emails, these newsletters, these, like for the different educational programs she signed up for. And I was thinking, yeah, that would overwhelm me too. So
there's just so much out there.
Yeah, it really is. So awesome. Any other little tips and tricks? So in terms of the shiny object, do we wrap that up in terms of, strategies? So one is you just say no, unless it is going to directly contribute to your success in achieving your pre-specified goals. Is that correct?
Especially if it supports a need that I know I need help with, because I didn't learn marketing. I didn't learn all this tech stuff in school.
Right.
So and those kind of things.
In that, because we work together privately.
Right.
You've done many of my programs. I feel like you're in good shape now.
And that's exactly why I'm in good shape, because I did enlist the help of someone who knew what they were doing.
Oh, thank you.
Didn't have to try to be on the struggle bus like I was for several years in the beginning of my business. So it's now I get very selective about, the things that I, sign up for.
Right. Because you already have that, like in terms of marketing and things like you already have that knowledge.
Right.
So yeah, you're in good shape with that. So completely agree. Yeah. So any other strategies that you want to share?
I would just say, in terms of the multi-passionate thing, realize that you don't have to try to do them all at one time, that you've got plenty of time.
Yes.
You can, strategically plan them for the future. And that's where if you've got things automated and you've got things more simplified, like I'm working on a health funnel right now, things that will help automate my business, I know that then I will have the time and be able to, go after some of those other passions that I have. It's all about that time freedom. We all want that time freedom.
Yeah.
But I think, just reminding yourself, it doesn't all have to happen right this second.
Yeah.
Exactly. One goal at a time.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. So you got to prioritize. You can't do it all at once.
No.
I think that's key. And yeah, and just, doing the time blocking, I think that's huge. And it does require some discipline, I would say, to stick with it. Right. So how do you implement that part?
As far as being disciplined, again, that's where going back and looking at what my goals are, that helps me with the discipline. It's like, okay, if I really want to be successful and keep my online business, so many businesses go under if they don't have a strategic plan and they don't really address these things that are going to keep them running, that it's just an expensive hobby. It's not really a business. And so you have to really view it. This is my business. And that to me has really helped with the discipline aspect. And I build in fun time too, because I know myself well enough to know that if everything is all work and no play, I'm not going to be a happy camper and not stay with it. So for me, I have to build in play. And it might be that one morning I go and work from a coffee shop just to have a change of environment, or go work in a co-working space just because I don't have the distractions of home at that point. But I do those things to help me get focused.
Okay.
And then plan some getaways where I have real retreats. I'm all about the Airbnb by myself thing.
Are you?
Well, I love doing that. Especially if there's like a pool or if there's like water that I can go look at. There's ducks, that's my happy place. And I will do that, if I feel like, okay, I'm getting overwhelmed with everything. I just need a little mini retreat. It might be just one night, but I do that.
Oh, good.
So good. Or if I don't spend the night, I go somewhere for the day.
So good. Good for you. I love that. All right, guys. So we're going to start to wrap up here. A lot of great strategies. So good. I mean, one of the big takeaways is, have a little reward for yourself for staying on task, getting things done. Even, setting that timer that we talked about and, just taking a little reward break in between, right? So I love all of those strategies. One thing I want to just remind everybody about real quick before we wrap up is the Six Figure Biz Academy. Some of you may be familiar with it. And this is I would just call it the business training you didn't get, right? When you went through your clinical training program, whatever that was. So everything from generating more revenue from one-on-one packages and programs, messaging, positioning, learning to sell those said programs in a really authentic and motivating and inspiring discovery call, right? So how to navigate through that. Then we shift into marketing strategies so that you can attract more right fit clients. Then we move into creating multiple streams of income, right? Through courses, group programs, memberships, right? All of those things. So I do want to let you know that if this sounds at all intriguing, let's have a conversation. Okay. So all you need to do is go to sixfigurebizacademy.com And I think I will type that in the comments because we are wrapping up enrollment. Actually, enrollment for this cohort will close on Wednesday. So we've got about 6 days left of enrollment, and probably not going to reopen again until winter of 2026. So I only offer this once a year, but I think I'm going to push it out a little bit further into, opening or, first quarter of 2026. So I'm going to type in the URL right now, sixfigurebizacademy.com. And all you guys have to do, if you would like to explore if this is a good fit for you, is go to the page. You'll see all kinds of little buttons, get started now. You just fill out a short form and set up pick a time for us to chat. And we can have a conversation and decide if it's a good fit. Easy peasy, right? So, all right. So, Michele, where should we send people who want to learn more about your work?
You can follow me on Instagram, and it's optimal.health.dietitian. I'm redoing my website right now, so it's kind of outdated, but it is bytenc.com, and the second byte spelled BYTE. That always throws people. But, when I was coming up with names, it's hard to come up with names that are not taken. And that one my husband came up with. He's really good at naming things. So
good. Okay, so Optimal Health Dietitian.
Yes, optimal.health.dietitian.
Oh, gut health.
Dot, like as in like a period.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Optimal
dot health dot dietitian. Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, so that is your Instagram. So let me put that on there. Optimal.health.dietitian. Yes. Okay, so guys, I think hopefully I got it.
You got it. That's right.
All right. So yeah, give Michele a follow on Instagram and stay in touch. And gosh, I really appreciate all these really, really smart ideas in terms of helping us to become more focused. So I got to tell you, I'm really impressed. You're doing great.
With your help.
Gosh,
gave me some great foundations I needed. Definitely.
So glad. Yeah.
If you're on the fence about this 6-figure business academy, I'm telling you, just do it. Lesli knows her stuff. I still hear her voice in my head a lot of the time when I'm trying to make decisions about things. What would Lesli do? And she's there on my shoulder. I can hear her. So
I love that. Oh, that's like the best compliment in the world. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Guys, I'm here to help. I really want to. Yeah, the truth of the matter is I hate to see people struggling. I really do. Because it doesn't have to be that way, right? And I get it. I do understand sometimes you don't want to invest. You think, believe me, I was that person. I'm like, I can do this myself. I can figure it out. But it was even having an MBA and lots of experience in marketing, this is a different kind of business. Right. So when I started my nutrition practice, it was a bit challenging at first. So anyway, I just hate to see people struggle and, try to piece it all together without, really having a lot of success. So if you would like any help, just please reach out because there are some shortcuts. Wouldn't you agree, Michele?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah. Shortcuts, I didn't learn in MBA school either. I got to just say, it's just kind of really specific to this type of industry. So, so reach out to me. Go ahead and go to the sixfigurebizacademy.com, look over that page and fill out a little application form, and we can hop on a call and chat and see if you're a good fit. If the 6-Figure Biz Academy is a fit for you moving forward. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I will look forward to seeing you all same place, same time next week. And Michele, all the best to you. I'm so happy that we had a chance to catch up. You're doing awesome. Keep up the good work. And thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing all those tidbits with us on how to increase our productivity.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
But okay, everybody, take care. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.